with us His Excellency Ambassador Claudio Ansorena from Costa Rica. He's the ambassador of Costa Rica to India. Ambassador, thank you so much. Welcome to our event, and we are thrilled to be hearing from you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I'm looking forward to have a great discussion.
Thank you, Ambassador. Just a background on Ambassador Ansorena Montero. His Excellency Ambassador Claudio Ansorena Montero, he is an economist with over 25 years of professional experience. He has worked for 8 years at the Inter-American Development Bank, the IADB, in their staff and as a project manager to different public organizations, as a consultant to different governments in Latin America, and with the private sector in Costa Rica. Mr. Ansorena's qualifications include strong leadership, strong team playing skills, multicultural exposure and expertise. He's a great communicator, as you will find out very soon. He's a strategic decision maker and a strong negotiator. And these are the things that we can learn from the ambassador in our session today, and hopefully, in a longer term association with the ambassador and the Embassy of Costa Rica. Mr. Ansorena holds a PhD in economics from the University of Massachusetts, specializing in economic development, international trade and finance, macroeconomics, political economy, public finance, social policy, and project management. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for bringing this wealth of knowledge to our fellowship. And if you could say a few words about our fellowship and officially consider it open.
Of course. It'd be my pleasure to congratulate the Global Policy Diplomacy and Sustainability team on this progressive idea that anyone can learn about public policy, diplomacy, and sustainable development from anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. In our times, when the COVID pandemic has wreaked havoc on global economies and states, the future of sustainable development, diplomatic engagements, and public policy would need skills that this fellowship imparts in their fellows. I congratulate the Global Policy Diplomacy and Sustainability team on this forward-looking idea and officially launch this fellowship. Congratulations.
Ambassador, I wanted to ask from you that, what have been generally the dialogue around decarbonization across the world? And I know since you've worked extensively in this field, if you could also tell us about how is Costa Rica leading the research, practice, and dialogue around decarbonization and climate change?
Thank you very much. Indeed, Costa Rica is a very small country, but some things we have done right in the past that enables us now to be, if you want, a moral authority on the issues of environment and climate change. Let me give you a little bit of history, because it's important to not focus only on the technicality of the climate change problem right now, but how was Costa Rica able to come to this point and not fall into other problems that other countries in developing nations have. Today, Costa Rica, after some depletion that we had in the 1960s and 70s, Costa Rica now has like 54% of the territory covered by forests. So it's one of the few countries that has been able to increase the forest area. And we have then taken very strong measures in preserving the biodiversity, the national parks, and also not cutting trees indiscriminately. And we also, since the 1980s, we developed a tourist industry based on the ecology, starting from universities, professors and students that were invited to come to the country to see the the different microclimates and the different parks that we had. And we never bet on commercial tourism. We were very conscious that we could not compete with other places that were cheaper and had more facilities. So we had to take another perspective on tourism, which is our main industry for obtaining exchange currencies exchange. So we bet since the 1940s on ecological tourism. So all of these things have helped to have a very explicit policy internationally of that ended up with the decarbonization plan that we have today, that started in the past government officially, and that it has as a goal to get rid of fossil fuels by 2030, except in the transportation area. Today, Costa Rica has 95%, or sometimes some years we even have 99% of our energy matrix run by renewable energy sources. And we are planning to also the transportation sector to transform it into an electric sector completely by 2030. The Paris Agreement, as you know, tries to obtain a reduction in the temperature of the Earth by 2 centigrades. Right. We believe that that is not enough, that we should go beyond that, at least to 1.5 centigrades. And India, in that sense, is a great ally, a great partner, because India also is moving towards a green economy, although from a point of reference that is much behind because of all the carbon that is burned in India. But however, India also is ahead of the goals proposed by United Nations. So we hope that we can keep this alliance and this partnership with India in other forums to move ahead and go beyond the goals of the Paris Agreement.
Right. Thank you so much, Ambassador. In fact, I was going to come to this question that how do you think that Costa Rica and India can partner together in terms of exchange of knowledge and capabilities? Because as you see, Costa Rica is much ahead in its research and its public policy actions on environment. And India, whatever policy that India comes up with, it impacts at least a fifth of the global population. So what do you think are the avenues where Costa Rica and India could partner together to push the envelope on the environmental diplomacy side?
Well, as I said, we have to have a same message to all over the world, and show by being an example of it.
Right.
I think with the policies that Costa Rica has imposed and are trying to do with specific goals, with this decarbonization strategy that is more specific because it has 10 areas, and also 8 cross-section topics. That is, it could be like a blueprint format for other countries to copy. India also has a lot to do with the research that they're doing in environmental issues. I think India has a lot of technology, but the problem is how to distribute it and extend it to all of the country that is so big. For us, it has been easier maybe because of the size and because of the previous reforms that we had done.
Right.
But India is a major, it has a major challenge because of the size and because of all the other problems that India faces.
Right.
So we're talking about different scales.
Yeah.
And I always say that even though Costa Rica is so small and India is so big, we share a lot of values in common. We share the value of democracy, the value of peace. In democracy, India is the largest democracy in the world. Right. And Costa Rica is the oldest democracy in Latin America. In terms of peace, you have a great tradition of peace since the independence movement with Gandhi. Yeah. And Costa Rica has also a tradition of having abolished the army and having been an example to the world in terms of how to use the resources the most efficient way in terms of creating the human conditions, the social conditions necessary in order to then take a look at the environmental issues. Because it's very hard to look at environmental issues if you don't have satisfied some social conditions before. I mean, you cannot think about, you know, how to not cut trees and not hurt the environment and not to use maybe fossil fuels. If you have people that are demanding that because of their social situation and the poverty levels that you have. Right. So poverty has to be #1 goal to overcome in order for them to have all of these other possibilities of attacking the problem of climate change and pollution and all of the environmental problems that there are. Yeah. So we have a lot in common, India and Costa Rica. We can do a lot of cooperation, South-South cooperation in many areas like scientific research, agriculture, energy, and even in other areas of health and education.
Since you're also an economist, I want to understand what are your views on the best ways of decarbonization in this world?
Well, as an economist, I do agree with a green tax on pollution, and also there are several financial mechanisms also that could be put into place, like the bonds, the green bonds that Costa Rica was also one, if not the first one, was one of the first ones to sell these type of bonds in order to protect our forests and our green areas. To sell these bonds to countries that were polluting because of their industry and the resources that they had. And that has increased, but it hasn't had a lot, to tell you the truth, it hasn't had a lot of growth, these mechanisms. But it's a way that I think it could be study more and explore various possibilities of these bonds that could help to protect the environment. And of course, with a tax on gas emissions, it could be a good help. But also, in terms of more positive ways, I think we have to go into the green economy by showing that by going green in different areas and different industries, you can create employment and you can create businesses, and we can create other industries also. You know, the wind industry, the solar industry, the geothermal industry. There's so many other ways of producing energy that it can create a lot of other alternative industries than just to burn fossil fuels. So we have to think more broadly and understand that maybe by getting rid of fossil fuels, it isn't that the economy is going to go down or we're going to grow less. No. Yeah. We can grow even more in terms of other industries that will be created.
What does environmental diplomacy really look like? And you know, for people who want to be diplomats in the future, a lot of diplomacy is not going to be about the traditional, decisions on conflict and war, although they are going to be there, but they're all going to have an environmental aspect to it. So I think there are two parts of my question. One is that what does environmental diplomacy look like? And secondly, what skills should younger folks develop to be more effective diplomats or to prepare themselves for a career like that?
The first thing for Costa Rica is to show the example of Costa Rica all around the world. And whatever you have done in your country,
right,
that is good for the environment, that goes along with the environmental and climate change goals of the United Nations, that would be a way to transmit this message of improving the environmental issue. I always talk about that this is not just another area of diplomacy. Actually, this is the area for human civilization to survive.
Yeah.
And so we're dealing with a problem that all humanity faces, and that we have to take a very unified and global perspective on this. That the Earth is the only spaceship that we have, and if we destroy it, we are destroying ourselves. So we have to make conscious of this. So there's a very important educational purpose that we have to follow.
Right.
And we have to, first of all, make people understand the urgency and the critical situation that we're in. And so there's a lot of data. There's a lot of data that anybody that is interested in pursuing this type of career should be very well versed in terms of all of the problems that we face in the Earth as a whole. And all the statistics that the United Nations has gathered, I think it's very important to know and to handle that type of data, because this is not a kind of a political ideological debate.
Right.
It has to be a scientific debate. And the facts are that come from science have to be respected and have to be shown, and get away from the political ideological debates on this, which are very dangerous and also irresponsible.
How important is it for strong powers to back these global agreements?
Definitely, very, very important. And in that precise point is where India has a very important role to play. India can have a position of a strong power of a country that is a developing country with a lot of problems, but it has the willpower and the political power then to attack the problem of climate change, and demonstrates that it can be done by making policies to attack pollution, to attack deforestation, to attack all of the problems that India has in the environment side. Because India is doing a big effort in that sense. And the role of India is very, very important in the international arena.
Right.
And that's why Costa Rica and India have to keep being allies in this issue. And even though we are very small and you are so big, we have this common goal that we have to achieve, which is decarbonize the world, entire world, transform these energy sources of fossil fuels into more renewable energies, and construct a new world if we want to survive, and our children and grandchildren would have a better world.
We, as a partner organizations and co-chairs, both Arpit and I feel extremely honored to be in the presence of such towering personalities who have such an intricate understanding of all of these issues that we plan to cover through our fellowship over the next 3 months. And I'd encourage all of you to kindly reach out to us if you have any questions through our email ID that's already in the chat box.
I think I would like to thank Ambassador Ansorena for taking out the time, and I would really hope, Ambassador, that these organizations which are setting up this fellowship, such as the UN South-South Cooperation, such as Global Policy Insights, which is a centrist think tank that functions in New Delhi, in London, and in New York, and we hold a number of events, and Envipol, which is an environmental consulting firm. If we could keep seeking your mentorship for this fellowship and for these organizations, I think it would be of great value to us. Even though you said that you are not a diplomat but more of an economist, it is only apparent that the way that you brought the whole focus on the fact that climate change and environment is about our very survival, and that perspective in itself, I think it is the greatest thing that diplomats are entrusted to bring about, and that's what the world needs to be focusing on. So thank you so much for your message to the youth over there and to the people who have joined us from various countries. I would also like you to give us a short message, after which we launch the official video of the fellowship over here. That would be a great honor for us, Ambassador.
Sure. Well, I congratulate you again. I commend you for all this effort that you're doing. I hope that the new generation will do a better job than the generation of today in creating the environment and also the social conditions necessary for a better world, more clean, more green, and more loving. That's what we need. It would be very interesting if we could get some exchange of students that from India and Costa Rica, maybe using a lot of the financial facilities that the Indian government has,
right?
So that Indian students could go and see for themselves, what has been done in Costa Rica.
Absolutely.
So maybe we can work in that area, and I'm willing to accompany you and help you in this regard, whatever I can do. So thank you very much.
Most gracious of you, Ambassador. Thank you so much.